Hello, everybody. This is Douglas Auclair, known online as Joff. I own the company Logical Graphs. Today, we're going to be discussing my month-end reports on the trades that I've done for the month. So this is April, so we'll be looking at the trades that I did for March. This is going to occur in real time, and I'm going to share the tools that I use to compute what my trades look like over the past month. It can be any time period. I choose to do it on a monthly basis. And then you can see the spreadsheets that I use to compute what I've spent in trading cryptocurrency over the past month. So let's get to it. The first tool that what I do is I have two domains of trading. I have trading in general across the cryptocurrency blockchains, which I call the Blockiverse. And then I have trading specifically on Kujira, Fin, and then I have a separate protocol for myself on Orca, which I handle separately and not in my monthly reports. The Orca trades I try to do on a daily basis. The reason why I have Kujira Fin separate from the Blockiverse reports is that most of my trades occur there because I can do limit orders easily. I can see what the order books look like easily on Kujira Fin, whereas in other blockchains, you're either doing swaps, which are fine, or their order books don't have the visibility into them like the Kujira Fin order books do. So let's take a look at what we're talking about. So here is Team Kujira. In the Fin marketplace. You see that I have a set of order books that I favor, that I trade on regularly. And I have a set of catch-all orders that I put in place across these order books. And the catch-all orders become active when the orders that are unfilled don't have a filled circle. The orders that are filled do have a filled circle. So if we look at an order book where there aren't orders filled, replace a series of catch-all orders far below the market value or far above to sell. If I want to sell the cryptocurrency, usually I'm buying because that's where you make the money. So I have these catch-all orders in place, and occasionally a order hits. I don't expect it to, but when it does, that's a nice bonus that I receive. I claim the order by entering it into a spreadsheet. And so you see my orders for the month of March. I get questions, do I enter these by hand? The answer is yes. Every single order that I execute, every single order that I claim, I enter by hand. There are other ways of going about doing this. The way that I go about doing it ensures that I get every order, every expense, and every transaction ID. You can query the blockchain yourself and get this information, but the tools out there, are they reliable for your portfolio? For me, the answer is no, and that's why I do it by hand. Okay, so you see these sets of orders that I have. What I do is I capture this order information, and then I paste it into my repository. So I've just updated my trades tab separated values file. And then I have a tool called PNL for profit and loss. And the way PNL works is that you can pass it the V flag. You send it the assets comma separated value file, and you send it the trades tab separated file. The assets comma separated file is the following. Look in data files under Fin. It is the repository of information about the assets I've collected over time, including the realized price of the asset. So the realized price of the asset for the link that I hold, for example, is $4, even though link today is around $20. Why? Because I bought link at $4 or $7, and then I sold it for more and bought some more at less and sold it for more, to eventually driving the price to what it currently is. So local is at this price. The LP Kuji Atom, which is currently trading around $15, $20, I got it around $5 per. Again, trading it at, selling it at a higher price, buying it at a lower price, eventually drives my realized price to this value. And so even though the assets file does not have the current price, it has the average cost basis of my assets. And that is important for tax purposes because when I sell these assets, I'm selling these assets at my average cost basis. And when I buy the assets, they affect my average cost basis. Average cost basis is a technical term used in for tax purposes. So when you use average cost basis, you use what is the average price that you bought and sold the assets at to compute your profit or loss. And that's why I use average cost basis. My average cost basis is computed by my profit and loss engine. And so I haven't done this. I haven't run this report for March. So you're all seeing this in real time. So I run my profit and loss machine. I run the system and it tells me it runs up the first 25 trades, and then it says it can't find the asset USDC, meaning that I traded USDC and I bought it and I sold it, and eventually my total goes below zero, so the system fails out. I have my system fail out quickly and tell me where it failed so that I can adjust my assets and get a true report, as opposed to before my version 1.0 of profit and loss would continue to run the system, run the asset into negative values, and that would throw the profit and loss calculations way off of whack. So when I get into a failure like this, I want to fail immediately and stop the system. And so that simply tells me I need to change my asset basis so that I have more as USDC to run through my trading computations. So let's look at assets and let's look for USDC. And behold, I do not have any USDC. Let's see if that is true. No, there it is. Okay. So I have 300. So I'm just going to put it at 1300 at 99 cents, which is fine. So I don't have 1300 USDC, but I've done trading back and forth with USDC where my trade simulator ran it into negative ground. To avoid to run it into negative ground, I just put $1,000 more of that asset. The assets aren't important for commuting my total value of my portfolio. My assets are important for computing the average cost basis of each asset. And so that's why I put in that padding without concern about it affecting my total value of my portfolio. Okay, so let's rerun the scenario. Okay, and now I run out of West. Um, Another asset that I traded quite a bit back in March. So let's modify that value. 1.7, I actually have more than 1.7 F, so I'm fine there. but it turns out that I needed even more than that. Okay. And Phantom. Phantom is going to be a big one this month and last month. And I have no Phantom at all, it's saying. Okay. So what do I do when I had Phantom? I guess I traded it away. So what do I do in that case? Well, I bought Phantom at 17 cents per and even lower. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some Phantom at current market price. I have and where do I get the current price? I look at the mint market price, and it's trading at 81 cents per. So let's put it at 81 cents. Thank you. Okay. And there we go. Finito. All right. So what does the P&L computer do for me? First of all, it goes through every trade that I did in my spreadsheet, which I saved into my repository. So here are my trades. I did 62 trades last month, or about 2 trades per day. Quiet month. It goes through every trade, and let's pick out one of the trades here. So it's parsing line 32. And it says it's a sell order. I sold F. I'm sorry, I got F for selling wrap staked F. And it computes and it gives me the transaction ID, which I recorded, and additional information. And then it does its computation. It says for that trade on the 17th, I traded 0.1 wrap stake death at approximately $4,000 per for 0.18 F at $3,500 per. And then it says this amount, quote, and then quote, and then profit is $666.75.3, which means with that one trade, the profit and loss engine computed that I made $600 with that one trade. Okay, then it does that for every single trade, and then it spits out the information that it used to compute this. So it spits out its internal model. I'm going to capture that internal model. It says, okay, so that's for the last trade. For the last trade, which was BNB, which I bought for a low amount and sold for a high amount, I got, let's look at the last trade. For the last trade, I got 750 Manta for 0.75 BNB. I bought BNB around $200 per. So for about $150, I got 750 Manta. Folks, that is some serious profit. And in fact, the profit and loss engine computed for that one trade, I made $456 in profit. So it spits out an internal model. I'm going to capture that information and I'm going to put it here. Here I will bold and highlight. And so now I have captured profit and loss information per trade. And so you can see which trades I made a profit on, by how much I made a profit on. This was a pretty good trade. This was an amazing trade.
I make a lot of money on my F to F trades. Seriously, folks, arbitrage is amazing. And I lost some money on some trades based upon average cost basis. And you see that I'm minimizing my losses and maximizing my gains in my trades. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture all this information and show profit and loss by day. Now I did multiple trades per day. I'm going to show profit and loss by day. So, yep, let's do a column chart. Data range, x-axis. Let's make this date. Let's get rid of all these other columns. And then add profit and loss. Do this. Can't. And let's aggregate by date. And you see, let's get rid of this. The days that I traded and how much profit, which is above the zero line, and how much loss below the zero line, which you can't see because my losses were very small and my profits were pretty good for this past month. I'm very pleased, folks. Oops, and I want to edit and put a title on this. And so those of you asking, how do you do charts on spreadsheets? You're seeing it in real time. Let's look at the previous month. In the previous month, I made quite a bit of money per trades. The previous month made good money per trades. Okay, so we have that chart. Let's also do profit and loss versus trade before we do that. So here we go. We've got the profit and loss per day from these data, okay? But we have more information in my report. So let's capture this information. So this piece of information is interesting here for me as a trader. It tells me number of days traded. I traded 21 days in the previous month. Average number of trades per day, almost 3. Average profit and loss per day, $600 per day. My aim is to make $1,000 per day in income from cryptocurrency to match what my job is paying me. So $600 per day is a good direction to me moving in. Most active trading day was the 22nd, as you can see here, with $114 made. Most profitable day was the 17th with 5 trades, totaling a profit of $7,200, folks. And the least profitable day, I only lost $1.22. So very good. Now this updates my average cost basis of all my assets. So I capture this information here and I move it into my assets. So let's look at the assets file one more time before I delete it. The assets has a date stamp. So we stamp it and put it into the assets file. Okay, so the assets file is updated. And the trades file is updated. I'm not going to add it to Git quite yet. Let's go to my assets tab and my repository. And we want to, so okay, let's record the trades first before we do that. So here are my trades. I capture my trading information. Show that yes, Douglas Auclair Sir Joff is actually trading cryptocurrency and is doing so above board. Every trade I record, every trade you can see. And I am doing it profitably. Okay, I've got that information. Now let's record the assets information into the assets tab. You see there are quite more assets than listed here, than I captured from the previous month. What I do is I only record the most amount of asset that I have. So what I do is I sort by the traded amount. Okay, so I have all these assets. So let's now sort them. You go to your spreadsheet, you go to data, you sort the range, you do a custom sort, you say sort by, data has header rows, you sort by a whole trade, and you sort from most to least, not from least to most, sort. Okay. And so have quite a bit of trading information here. Let's cut it off at $500. And so now we have the asset positions that I use for trading on Team Kujirafin. Update this. Or we cut all those out. Let's actually do a summation here. Yep. Okay, so that's 44,000. Now let's cut off below $500. And that's not affecting the asset file in the repository. This is just for reporting via spreadsheet. Okay, and so update the date. And I already captured that information. I need to update the last piece of information that I captured so that it accurately affects the total. Okay, have that. So I actually didn't copy there, so let's do that. Okay, And so we got the assets. Now let's do profit and loss report. Let's move this over a little bit so we can see more of what we're doing here. Right. Let's do the most actively traded by asset. Okay, so it bears out. My most profitable trading arena was trading wrap staked Ethereum for Ethereum and back and forth. Beautiful arbitrage there. That order book has since become not very active of all. And then BNB got really active when it went from $200 per to I traded at $1,000 per in one instance. So that was a pleasant surprise for me there. Okay, so now we have profit and loss by order book. And so you see here for the month of March, total profits or losses were $12,600 on 62 trades. Folks, I started with a portfolio worth $6,000 back in 2021. I added to that portfolio. It is now worth $111,000. I made a tenth of that in the month of March on trades back and forth of assets on Team Kuchera, Fin, and Orca only. I averaged $200 per trade. So each trade I made was worth $200 on average. Okay, and actually we want to put this here. So now we have multiple reports we can file. Do we have a report here? Yes. So we file this report. Oops. We put it through our DSpacer. See if that works. We're a bit over. So we have different. So these are all different. Usually I can consolidate them. In this case, it's not working. So let's get rid of the words trading day. We're still 13 words over. One word over. And there we go. All right, let's file this report. This is the daily trading activity. File it. And then log it. Right, and so we have a couple more reports associated with trading on Team Kujira. This is the big one here. Again, I have to de-space it. I'm going to put in my description links to the programs that I use, including the profit and loss engine computation. And you can see in that, let's look at the look at the source code repository for that program. I also lay out in the README what the columns are for your per trade report, so you can run P&L at the end of the month or the end of the day or however often you want to run it, and includes the output of the system. Okay, so profit and loss, include my trades. And post. Then blog. Okay, the next report. We are looking at this one here, which is the profit and loss versus the trades, or profit and loss by order book. keep recording. I keep forgetting to despace these. Despace is a program that I wrote to remove the spaces in spreadsheets so that I can tweet it without all the annoying HTML showing up. And I include the source code in this tweet. Log it. Alrighty. So we have the Kujira Fin trades for the month of March, making $10,000 trading ETH for itself in arbitrage, and Atom to Kuji, $200. Okay, whatever. I'm still going to trade Atom for Kuji and Kuji for Atom because its average cost basis is my loss. I probably made quite a bit of profit there, actually. So for the month of March, I made $12,600 on 62 trades, averaging $200 per trade. Pretty good. And so how do I trade? That's a topic for another video. This video is about doing the monthly reports. This is Team Kujira Fin's trades only. As you've seen in my previous video, I own assets on blockchains across the blockiverse. And that is this spreadsheet here. I own assets on Avalanche, Kujira, protocols of my own in Kujira, private protocols, Terra, Arbitrum, Optimism, Cosmos, and Tron. So what do I do there? Every transaction I record into another spreadsheet. And so let's look at the transactions for March 2024. And you see that I record every transfer between blockchains. I record every conversion swap on blockchains. I record every kind of staking, redelegation, supplying, borrow, or providing or removing liquidity. Because there are fees associated with that I can deduct. I record every yield I claim or harvest. So there's profit. So not only did I make money on trades on Team Kujira, but in the month of March 2024, I made $841 in profit from income bearing yields. And leveraging, I made $72. Okay, no big deal. And then I have some losses to record of approximately $1,000 for that month. Let's make sure I don't mess this up. This goes to row 248. This goes to row 248. So this is my report for all activity across all blockchains. Nice, but it doesn't include my Team Kujira blockchain information. So I'm going to add that in. So I convert that profitability that I made in the month of trading on Kujira for simplification purposes, into actual USDC. At the end of the month, the last time I traded on Team Kujira Fin was '29th of February, the leap year day. It's various transactions. And then, so let's record the information. So how much did I make? Let's go to the Kujira spreadsheet. And it tells me I made this much. 62 trades. That's total profit. I actually want to do the breakdown as well. So let me get that information. So profit, loss, subtotal. Let's get the subtotal. This was on Kujira Fin. The fees in total were $224, including commissions. And this was a 62 trades on Kujira Fin. Capture this information. And the amount invested is what was on my assets page. So I go to my assets page and get that amount. And so on $44,000 that I had in active trading, I made $12,000, which is approximately 30% return on investment. Annualize that, and you're making 300% in trades. It computes my expenses that I added in, and it computes my profits that I added in. And we have the end of the month across all the blockchains. Income was $13,000, $13,442. That could affect lives. If you follow the processes that I do, which includes measuring every trade that you do, recording every transaction that you do, so you see what works and what doesn't. You could start, if you started at $6,000 in 2021, you could be making this kind of profitability in 2024. Okay. And so now I have my Blockiverse report, which includes profits, losses, fees. So the total net profit was $12,000 for that prior month. Transactions, we went to line 249. And so now what I do is I record this into my summary for the year. So I go here, grab that number here. Mm, mm, mm. F2, my bad. So that gets me the total, which gives me a running sum of I've made $11,500 for the year up to the end of March. And so we can now generate the monthly cryptocurrency report. For March 2024. Mm. Oops. What is that number? And now instead of a loss, I'm recording a gain for the year so far. So let's record the monthly report year to date. And we can show some of those transactions that occurred in the past month. And we log it. This in the front. And publish it. Okay, so you saw the activity of what I did just now to publish my 2 monthly reports. The reports are the monthly cryptocurrency report, income and losses across the blockiverse, and the monthly cryptocurrency trading report for Team Kujira Fin. So what is my day-to-day operations, however? So whenever I make a trade on Team Kujira Fin, what I do is I have an entry for that trade where I just enumerate according to the profit and loss columns when I made the trade, how much I traded what for what. So from Manta, 2,500 Manta, I got $1,200. Manta trading at 50 cents now. And I include the transaction ID because if I have to go back a year later and see what actually happened to the trade, if I think I made an error somehow, or I forgot to record the fees or the commissions, I can go back to the transactions and look up that information. This has saved me several times when I've been doing my taxes over the past couple of years, recording the transaction ID with each and every transaction that I do. Those are for the Kujira Fin trades. And then you see my profit and loss computer computes profit and loss by day, which I create a chart for, and then computes profit and loss by order book, which I also create a chart for. And I report all that information out as a series of reports for Team Kujira Fin. And then across the blockiverse, I record every transaction that I do on every blockchain. And these transactions I loosely group into transfers between blockchains, coin conversions, swaps, for the most part, various housekeeping activities on the blockchain, mostly around staking, but like, for example, supplying or withdrawing liquidity from a money market goes here as well. All those are recorded. All my claims on yields that I have, you see that they're happening in Avalanche, Cardano, and Kujira for the most part. And then any leverage trading I'm doing, I record profit and loss here. And then any losses that occur. For example, when the STARS price snapped down, my STARS lease got liquidated. Boom. So I record it here. And I record how much I leased and then how much I got out of it, which was zero. It was a complete liquidation. And how much I lost, $40. Not a bad hit. I also did some options trading on Avalanche. Automated options trading. Ended up losing approximately $100 there. And then I lost quite a bit in what I invested into Juno, what I hoped it was going to do, versus when I liquidated myself, I liquidated that liquidity pool asset. I sold it at quite a loss. And so I record the loss there. Losing $300 out of $600 and $400. So that's what I do. I record every transaction, and then I let my profit and loss calculator compute the profit and losses for the trades for the month on Team Kujira. I put that into a claim on how much money I made on the trades. And then along with all my other claims, which are usually yield farming, go into how much I made for the month. I put that into a report that I'm generating for the year. So I have the month and how much I made or lost. but then I also have a yearly report that I'm generating. And so how much I made on the month, and then how much I made, I'm sorry, how much I made on the month, and then how much I made so far this year. So that's my monthly activity, my monthly reports. I will put into my description the links to my tools that I use to generate these reports. Most of this is done by hand. I have a high proficiency in spreadsheets, as you see. How did I get that high proficiency? I just started recording the relevant information on the trades that I was doing. And then I said, this is interesting. And so I developed that way. Just recorded the trades, and then when interesting grouping appears, I created a chart out of that, or I created a report from that. And that's my monthly activity. Thank you very much.